What do you mean by illustration job?
Yeah, I'm an illustrator, so I just draw pictures or paint pictures, and then I scan them in and send them
That's
off.
cool.
Yeah,
That sounds like an ENFP thing. That's cool.
yeah, yeah. But the only problem is that it's a very lonely job because I work from home, and
Uh,
I love the freedom in working freelance. Um, but it's also a bit of a trap because like they'll constantly change the deadlines and it's very uncertain, which I'm kind of all right with, but you end up um, getting stuck in between these jobs. And I mean, I miss having sort of social situation, like a job to
so
go to.
you're you're like contracted basically out to make certain things?
Yeah, it's different for all. I have many different clients, but some are like regular, like publications, like either online or uh, on paper. And then I draw like portraits and stuff for interviews. It's
That's cool.
mostly like online, but I do it by hand because it's like people who want it to be more kind of handmade and that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
I mean, you can just upload that online too.
Yeah, yeah. So I do that, and then I have illustrated like books and stuff in the past, but now it's more, sometimes for websites or just interviews. Or
Yeah.
the thing that I have to do like next beginning of next week is like a room for there's some designers who have designed some furniture and then they've put pieces of furniture together into a room, like a design of a room, and then I'm going to do a drawing, like a hand painted drawing of that they're going to use to market their company, that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
That's
And I
neat.
like doing that sort of stuff. Some architects also like to have hand drawn, representations of the rooms or the buildings, stuff like that.
So if you don't mind me asking, it was like the revenue based upon like how many sales or like the amount of success they have with it, like the product or whatever it is, or is it just like a one time I'll pay you this to do this and that's it?
Yeah, this is the really annoying thing. A lot of them are just like, I mean, obviously they try to get out of it as cheaply as possible. So they're always like, okay, you do this and we buy this from you, like a one-off thing. Because if you do something
Yeah.
for a logo or something, or something used for advertising, then you could get what do you call it, like royalties, for it.
Right. That would be where it's at, I would
But
think.
they don't want to, you know,
Yeah.
normally they don't want those kind of deals. So then I
Uh-huh.
always have to ask for as much money as possible, like for the actual thing when I do it, and that's as an ENFP feeler person, it's difficult for me to ask for money. I'm getting better at it, but you know.
Uh-huh.
But then some of them are like regular, like the portraits I do for interviews and articles and stuff.
Right.
Or sometimes they're portraits, sometimes they're illustrations for the articles, and those are kind of regular. So they'll decide like a fee that I get for each image, and then I just do them. And those are good. I would like to have more of those because they're kind of regular jobs. But
Uh-huh.
I can still like decide when to do it. I just have like a deadline each month or something, and then I can
Do
decide.
like do your clients recommend you to other clients or possible clients?
Yeah, yeah, that's how I found all my jobs because I just started, through meeting people and showing my work, and then I got recommended.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's one of many jobs, but now I'm actually doing mainly that. Uh, but
Well,
yeah,
yeah, that's good.
yeah, my plan is to have enough of these jobs so that I can be wherever I want in the world and then work, remotely.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it would also be nice to work with some kind of team on something, to have more social interaction. Uh,
So you don't want to stay in Sweden.
no, I really don't. I hate the
Do you not
climate.
like or what?
Being cold and yeah.
Yeah.
I used to live in I've lived in Italy for 5 years and then I lived in London
What part
and
of it? Northern
in
part or
Rome.
southern part? Okay.
I lived in Rome, yeah. But that was very hard for work as an artist. It's Italy is great in terms of food and climate and everything, but for work it's quite difficult, especially within the creative sectors.
Well, I
They're
mean,
very
I
like
don't know if, yeah, if
old
it still is what it
fashioned.
was historically, but I would like posit that there'd be a lot of creative minds there like, trying to vie
Oh,
for.
definitely. There's so many interesting people, and just the way they live. It's like they enjoy food and drink, and they take their time. I really like their
Yeah.
lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean,
But
yeah, Southern Europe differs from Northern Europe in that way.
yeah, yeah. And then I lived in London for 9 years,
Uh-huh.
which I loved. Like I would love to move back there actually, um, because it's so full of people from all over the world and people with really interesting ideas. And I think for an ENFP or ENTP, it's like the dream because you can just like go from places and meet really have random conversation with interesting people and because people are coming and going so much, people are very open to meet new people. Whereas
Yeah.
Stockholm is much more like small town mentality, like it's very planned, everything's very organized and
Uh-huh.
work is good. I mean, it's very, you get paid well for what you do and you get taken care of well. It's very comfortable, but it's I don't know. Sometimes I panic a little bit here because it's so planned. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
What's it like where you live?
So in terms of like administrative planning, like I don't know if that's what you're
No,
referring
just
to.
like the vibe in the city. Is it chilled out
So like
vibe?
so wait, hold on, I'm gonna ask you a question. So is it like Germany in that fashion? Because I know Germany's really organized and like that
Yeah,
Protestant work ethic is still there. It might not be Protestant, but that work ethic or whatever is still present.
yeah. It's still in the culture. It's similar. I think Sweden is quite similar to Germany, but Berlin is different though. Berlin is kind of more like London because it's got so many people from all over the world going there, a lot of
Yeah.
artists. So Berlin is a little bit more, um, it's almost like a bit hippie. London is not really hippie though. It's more like it's arty, but in London you have to really work because otherwise you can't pay your rent because it's so expensive. But there is a lot of work, but you have to like fight really hard to get somewhere
Yeah.
in London. I think in Berlin you can kind of live like an artist and still chill out way more. So it's slower, and there's a lot of
Uh-huh.
partying in Berlin. So I think you can sort of fall into this um, temptation of just partying and just drinking beer and talking about life, and then but not really getting shit done. I know people
Yeah.
who end up doing that in Berlin.
My well, for so I'm in Flagstaff, Arizona, so it's like a smaller town, and there's like a lot of hippies here. It's very artsy. Like so,
Mm.
every first Friday of the month,
Mm.
um, downtown has all the art shops open, and
Mm.
artists like show off their work and stuff,
That's
and
cool.
auction it off, and it's pretty interesting. Like you just go down there and you walk down the streets and stuff, and you look at all the new stuff that they have, and the old stuff that hasn't been sold. I mean, like some stuff has been sitting there for a while, but um,
That's cool.
that's pretty neat. And like there's like the little town square, and people will be playing music. There'll be different bands that go there, like small time things, like nothing big or anything. Like they'll just be traveling through. Um,
Is there a lot of like street life like that? Like, do people hang out on the streets a lot?
yeah, so
Playing.
yeah, downtown's definitely like that. Um, I mean, it's not big. It's not like downtown. Like there's huge buildings everywhere. It's like there's old, well, not old, probably compared to like what is in Sweden, but old 1800s buildings, like brick buildings. Like they're pretty short, and and you just get that old like cowboy kind of feel downtown.
Oh yeah, interesting.
So there's like old hotels and stuff that have been here for a long time, relatively. Um,
Yeah, because I think it's
and so
nice when you feel that something's happening on the streets, you know.
yeah,
Sometimes
yeah, it's just really
because it's so cold here, I guess that's why there isn't much of a street culture here because, you know, half the year is freezing, so people are indoors a lot. But now they're starting to open up more, you know, cafes and bars and stuff. And people sit with blankets outside, you know, because it's freezing, but they still want to do like the street culture.
yeah. So in Flagstaff, we're at 7,500 feet or something. It's like it's cold. Like it
Mm,
snowed today. It's a pretty big snowstorm today.
mm.
But people still go outside and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not cold in Sweden, but it's cold. Like it snows.
Yeah, I don't know because England, for example, it's also cold, but they have, you know, this pub culture. Like everyone always go down to the pub, you know, that kind of thing. So
Yeah,
there's
there's that.
more interaction with the
Yeah,
people.
yeah. There's a lot of homeless people here too. There's a lot of
Yeah.
that. Like I went to Denny's earlier. I guess it would be yesterday, but I like sat with a homeless guy and hung out with a homeless guy for like 5 hours.
Mm, yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
but
that's
we're on
here too.
Route 66, which is like an old interstate, and there's a lot of travelers just like going through town,
What
just
was
going
his
through this.
story? The homeless guy? Did he tell you any good stories?
Well, I mean, I believe him. Like normally when a hobo says that he
Oh, you disappeared. Can't hear you. You
my bad.
disappeared there.
Yeah, my
What did
phone
you say?
overheated and it just shut down. One
Oh,
second.
really?
Yeah, like it gets hot when I keep it in the phone cover case thing, and then I'm also running the app at the same time. So I don't have a
Mm.
mic on my computer. So
Oh, right. Yeah, you were saying about the guy you met.
yeah, like normally I don't believe a hobo when he says he was a Marine and like was in combat and stuff, but he seemed legitimate. But he was also like going to the bathroom and then doing drugs and then coming back
Oh,
and stuff like that. He was getting pretty hard on himself. Like he was saying that he doesn't feel like he has a like a worth, like a value in himself.
hmm.
Um, he's like separated from it. His wife died, and then he doesn't really talk to his kids much. Like one of his daughters didn't recognize him when he saw her last,
Oh,
and
shit.
uh, yeah, he was like kind of breaking down a lot.
That's terrible. I can imagine, like, once you end up, I can imagine it being so hard to get out of that circle, vicious
Yeah,
circle.
and he said he had flashbacks and stuff of the war, like the combat that he'd seen.
Yeah, that's really hard.
Yeah. And like the waitress came over and was like, we're gonna have to ask you to leave, sir. Like it's fine, it's whatever.
Uh, does he have a lot of other friends that he hang out with, or is he just lonely sitting by himself?
Apparently, there was a girl that was with him, like another homeless girl,
Mm.
but they ended up separating at some point. He said he was on a rooftop, and they were like hanging out on a rooftop, and then he looked around. I don't know, and then she just wasn't there. It
Mm.
was something really weird like that. I'm sure they were high or something, but
Yeah.
he's a native guy, and like a lot of the native people are homeless.